pandemic and everything else, how do you put where Gavin Newsom is? Nancy Pelosi says she doesn't like this, but you do have to listen to the voters who don't like the restrictive lockdowns and all of that. She can't just wave a wand and say, I don't like this, vote no for him.
Well, the reality is the only way Republicans win this is if Democrats stay home. So what you see is a traditional GOTV effort on behalf of the president. California is our nation's largest economy, and frankly, the economy, the reopening is going well. We see hospitalizations down and vaccinations up. That means we need continued leadership in the State House. So that's what President Biden and Nancy Pelosi are trying to ensure. That just means getting Democrats to pick up the ballot, fill it out, and mail it in. It's an off-year election. And frankly, Democrats don't feel under threat. They're trying to raise the stakes and remind voters that they could lose it all. And I think that's important. If Democrats turn out, Republicans lose this thing.
People don't usually give you a lifeline if they don't think that there's a threat. But let's move on. Business owners and a lot of other people around the nation are not happy about new COVID restrictions.
Keep listening to Harris Faulkner.
People need proof of vaccination.
She knows everything.
Test to enter a bar or restaurant or a gym. Similar restrictions go into effect
Especially about
next week. Los Angeles
cheating.
is currently drafting its own restrictions. One of the city's small business owners is not having it.
I can't find enough staff to keep the service going here. Now I'm going to say, well, you have to be vaccinated. I have certain employees that have had it before, and they feel their immune system is good enough. Do I have to let them go? They want us to be the sheriff, and I'm supposed to, what, put a vaccine checker at the door, and if somebody gets mad and punches my employee in the face, what do I do?
Restaurant with a smackdown of Mayor Bill de Blasio's restrictions posted a sign reading what says it will not discriminate against any customer based on sex, gender, race, creed, age, vaccinate or unvaccinated. All customers who wish to patronize are welcome in our establishment. How do you process, again, the voter, the person this is happening to, and not listen to them? What happens here? Laura?
Well, I think this is all about keeping people safe. Local businesses open and the economy thriving. The small businesses, you know, we heard one. There are many, many others that are happy to see this restriction because they want the Delta virus to be arrested, to stop being spread. So this restriction is very reasonable. And if you don't, and frankly, it's very reasonable. Frankly, in places like Texas and Florida, we're seeing hospitalizations get to the point where you can't get an ICU bed if you get in a car accident or if you have a heart attack. So it's all about keeping those hospitalizations down so that people have the freedom to move and continue to have that economy be open. It's working in California. And frankly, Americans agree. Majorities of Americans have no problem with vaccine and testing requirements. They support them. There are a handful of Republicans that do not. So those are the
I'd like to see a poll that actually asks it this way. If your small businesses are under threat like they were in the last lockdowns in the pandemic, are you in favor of that? Like if this hurts small businesses and hurts your local economy, that's a different question. And I think that's what to do. We've got to move on. But when we have you back, I want to go there because I don't think that the polling that we're talking about is broad enough there. Because that's a different.
Why can't you let her talk now?
Local economy. Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt on the issue with some strong words. Let's watch.
Says that using fear is good. That is what every tyrant in the history of the world and every dictator in the history of the world has ever said, to accumulate, aggregate, and maintain power. People can make these very important decisions themselves, and I don't want to live in some futuristic, dystopian, biomedical security state, and I'm going to do everything I can as Attorney General to protect the rights of individuals in the state.
David.
Democratic Party are good at doing two things: creating criminal activity and hiring more federal bureaucracy. What's going to happen here? Now you have an entire new industry of people making fake COVID vaccination cards so that individuals who don't want to get a vaccine can go in and say they do have the COVID vaccine. Which means what? Now you're going to have COVID card compliance officers coming in to make sure that cards are actual real cards and not fake cards for these businesses. Businesses are going to have agents for the government enforcing this. The only government they don't want to increase is police actually doing things to keep people safe.
Well, I think that this is kind of ridiculous. It's like saying that you're going to microchip everybody. These are reasonable things that will encourage people to get vaccinated, keep
How do you
businesses
enforce
open,
the
and
policy?
Americans
Laura,
safe.
how do you enforce the policy then? How do you enforce the policy if you're not going to have people making sure the cards are real?
Well, honestly, I think let's cross that bridge.
Harris loses control.
We have to do it now. You're making small businesses make people show a card to get in. You've got to enforce it now. This isn't waiting until later.
I mean, they've been doing it at concerts.
If
They've
it's
been doing
illegal,
it in
what does it
areas
matter? Again,
why are you screaming, sir?
Dems love creating criminal.
She doesn't know the definition of screaming.
I mean, you just show your card and then
Show a card that if a criminal sells it to somebody, it's an illegal card. So how effective is that
So
policy?
then
Laura?
what you need, like a clearing house.
Listen to what Harris says.
Excelsior program. You need something above or adjacent to those small to mid businesses to help them out to verify the cards. I hear from both of you. The crisis here, if you will, another one for the White House. The crisis here is that you're going on the honor system, and we know people cheat on their wives. I mean, come on, let's break it real here. So now
We do.
all of that responsibility.
Harris knows it all.
Just trying to stay above water. There's got to be another layer, as David is saying. And I didn't hear David yelling at you, but I'll say for everybody here, it is worth getting into for sure. And I'm glad we did today. To both of you, thank you. You've seen the packed migrant facilities at the border.